Wanderers. Hello, Wanderers. It's Wandering Wednesday. How are you, Natalie?
I'm good.
You're groovy.
Yeah. It was a little rough go this morning, but
You're
I
here.
was parked crooked in the parking spot, and I'm like, oh, I see how my energy is right now.
Ah,
Great.
it's one of those days.
One of those days, but I'm good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're not the only one I've heard that from, actually, because I have heard that people are like, something doesn't feel right. Something feels like energy feels off. Things are weird, like that sort of thing. And I even woke up this morning going, it feels surreal, like nothing is for real, which is true in my opinion, but it really feels that way today for some
Yeah.
reason.
Yeah.
Energy. And then we're going to talk about past lives and soul memory. That's going to be a time warp of sorts. Ooh.
Here we
And
go.
yeah, and we didn't get our topics. We have to have pre-conversation, lady.
We do need to have pre-conversation. It was preempted today because things didn't go quite as I had thought that my plan was.
Yeah, it's all good. But hello, Wanderers. Welcome to another night of soul wandering. We're so excited to have you here. Thanks for coming in and saying hello in the chat rooms. We're hanging out live on Facebook and YouTube. And if you're watching the replay, leave a comment and say hi. If you are new to Soul Wanderings, you can learn more about us on soulwanderings.com. It's a little thing that we've done for a lot of years. We just love it. We're just here for the fun of it. And
For the fun of it.
during the day, it can be fun, but it's a little more serious. we hang out in a place called Vibes, Mind, Body, Spirit. Natalie assists people through their grief journey and learning more about their truest selves through the human design system. And I help people connect to higher parts of themselves through the Akashic fields. And I help people with trauma. Yay! Good stuff. So check out
Very
more
well
on
done.
vibesnow.com. Hi, Natalie.
Hi, AJ.
I've been so excited to talk about this topic. I'm glad this is what our listeners voted on. Thanks everyone for the votes. Obviously, tonight we are going to be talking about the soul's eternal journey, which more in depth, past lives and soul memory. Ooh, excited.
I
This
can't wait
is
to hear what you have to say about this topic.
every time you do that, I feel so much pressure.
there's no
Don't say
pressure.
that. Don't say that.
Oh, wait. Wait a minute. I know past shows you've been like, this is going to be a Natalie show because this is her thing.
Oh,
If I
yeah.
said it that way, would it be easier? Probably not, huh?
I don't know.
It's just all
That
going to
feels
flow. I know
yeah.
it's going to flow right out of you.
Oh, I'm not worried. It's just like now everyone's paying attention to me. Ah, you know how I am. Oh, no. It's so funny. People say, how can you do a show on YouTube or on your TikTok and all this? And I'm like, I don't know. I just don't think about who's watching it. That's
Nope.
why.
We just do it.
Don't think about that kind of stuff. We're just here for it.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, tonight we're going to be talking about good stuff. But I have a question to start us out with.
Okay.
What if your life did not begin at birth, but what if it is a continuation? So feel on that. Feel on that for a minute.
Yeah.
You don't have to answer it. Just feel in your body. Like, what if? Just what if? Because I know when I talk about past lives or when we're in the Akashic like the records and past lives come up, sometimes people are like, okay, this is way out there. That's really weird. You know what I mean? Because like whether you believe you had lives before or not, it is something to, It's not familiar to us. It's not like we talk about this stuff all of the time.
Well,
Yeah, I
we
get
do, but
we do, but, like, I think more and more people are, right? But I don't think it's like a normal thing that's talked about because it's been shushed for so long.
yeah.
And so I just want to invite you all, like, while we're talking about it, don't just like feel, is this, I don't believe in that, or maybe this isn't real, but just like lean into the possibility of what if. Just what if it is? Because that doesn't hurt anyone to just be curious.
Just wonder.
First off, I want to ask you two questions. One, do you believe in past lives?
Okay, so yes, and I can't even remember a time when I did not have that framework.
I love that.
Yeah, it's always been a framework, so I can't even like consider a time when that wasn't something.
So good. Second, what was a significant past life that you had that assisted you in this current timeline?
Okay, so I'm gonna the one of my go-tos that past life that had confirmation or became evident in this lifetime was a lifetime evidently I drowned. So I was doing a program that was a breath work program that was holding my breath for 35 seconds and then releasing the breath. Now, holding the breath for 35 seconds has its own sort of pressure, but there was also this panic, and I have always had throughout this lifetime that all the memories I have of this lifetime, I always had just like, I didn't like water. I didn't like water with my face. I didn't like it in the shower. It made it sort of panicky for me. And so during that time, I went to see the chiropractor I see that does energy release. And I said, hey, I have this little panic thing that I'm experiencing when I'm holding my breath. We check into that. And so we had this technique, go in, go in, go in. And I ended up in a previous life, and I had this memory where I literally in my mind's eye saw that I was in the water and then I drowned. Like I went through that and I'm like, oh my gosh. It wasn't fearful during the remembering. It was literally like watching it on a movie of sorts. And then it's like, oh, I drowned. And he's like, okay, so let's go back a little. And he took me back from when I was not in the water, and I saw myself on a ship, and I had a job where I was loading cannonballs, and I saw that in my mind's eye. And he's like, okay, so let's go back a little further. So he took me back a little further in that life, and I saw myself. He's like, okay, so before you got to the ship, where were you? And I saw myself at a fork of the road. And so he said, okay, so I took another road, and I didn't see all of that lifetime, but I knew that I took this other road. Instead of going to the docks where the ships were, I went on this other road, and I just intuitively understood I went and worked on a farm. And that literally clarified that panic. And I was more comfortable in the water. I can have the water wash over my face in the shower. So that had a profound effect on this lifetime, was going back to that previous lifetime and remembering and then rescripting it, writing a different ending.
Love that.
And that happened.
Yeah. I mean, I love this kind of stuff. Like, tell me all the stories, people. I want to hear all of your stories when it comes to like soul memory. Oh, there's so many experiences that I've had, and I'm like, I can't. How do you make this up? You just can't make it up. It's so surreal.
I think that if I could say, I think you and we don't dismiss it. I think there's a lot of people that experience similar sort of knowings or whispers of previous lifetimes, and I think they dismiss it, where you and I allow it to have, weights. There's a little weight to it. There's some significance in our experience.
Yeah.
And you and I don't dismiss it, where a lot of people may
Yeah.
dismiss it.
I'm curious for those who do dismiss it, like what's that process? So when I feel something come into me, in my mind's eye, or what would people would consider imagination, I just feel it, the truth in my soul. Like you can't explain it, you just know. It's like the claircognizance ability about it, about yourself, that allows you to just have that gut feeling, and you can't explain it, and you don't need to, because you just know that it is truth.
Yes. I think there's also this understanding, because you said I feel it in my soul. And then
Mhm.
I intuitively had the words, the seat of the soul. How many people know where the seat of their soul is? And if
Mhm.
they were to feel it in their soul, what would that be like in their body? And do they have a
Right.
connection to that point?
Yeah. So let's talk about that. Let's talk about soul memory for a little bit, because obviously past lives and soul memory, there it's all connected, different words, same similar experiences, right? We have these past lives, but our soul has memory of those timelines. And our soul is always our soul. It's the essence of who we have always been from the beginning of our existence. And so when you navigate your way through these lifetimes, you have these experiences, but you also have these personalities about yourself. And you can be, we all have the opportunity to reincarnate in different physical forms, but our soul is our soul. And so it always has the memory of lifetimes before. And part of the plan of coming here to have this human experience is to have our soul memory erased, if you will. And that's why we do not have a remembering of our experiences before, unless there's there's so many ways that we could explain the unless. Like there's a shift in the frequency, there's a remembering, there's a deja vu moment, there's a soul connection, there's something that brings glimpses into your awareness, and that can be felt or seen in your body in many ways. And then you're just like, okay, that feels very familiar, or you have a clear understanding without explanation, because your soul will always remember. Your soul will always remember. And when you transition from this physical human body to whatever next experience you have, with or without a physical body, your soul just goes with you everywhere. It's always you. Your soul is you. It's and this is what's really cool, is when I see it. I love sacred geometry for so many reasons, and there's so many layers to it, right? But when I see it in the Akashic fields of how we are, it's all sacred geometry. We're all pieces of this one entire piece of sacred geometry, like puzzle pieces, if you will. But I see them as like sparkling lights, like the star above, like the sky in our banner right here on the screen. Like those all are little souls, and then we are drawn together by frequency, by experience, by contracts, by karma, whatever it is, and we connect into this um, sacred geometry.
That's beautiful.
I thought you went away somewhere. You're like, I'm going to go check on one of my past lives. I'll be right back.
No, I was watching I don't need to explain it, but I didn't go away somewhere. Kind of a little bit, but you know how I am when I can only track one thing at a time. But you can see that. I would like that to be different. It just isn't.
Yeah, that's all right. No, but that's how I see it in the Akashic fields. And I can understand like now, because I remember like when I was younger and you'd see shows like people are all, because there was like all this drug movement and psychedelics, and when they would pitch, put these visuals out on TV or like music videos and stuff like that, they obviously were onto something,
Mm.
right? There was something really magical taking place in those situations because the way that they interpreted their experiences was so cosmic and so connective and so beautiful. And I just think there's evidence all around us. Like there's proof everywhere
Yeah.
that this is not our first experience.
Right.
Do you have any questions?
It's like, well, I guess my question would be, how does that show up for you? Share an experience you've had with, remembering the soul or a soul memory, or how you encountered that in this lifetime.
Oh, I I'll feel on one to pinpoint because I feel like there are so many in the last several years. But I even remember as a child asking questions that I would get like, "You're not supposed to ask that," or "I don't know," or "Where did you get that from?" Like I was always curious about what was going on, excuse me, outside of myself. Like I didn't have an understanding. Humans were always really weird to me. And not like really, I look around and I'm just like, I feel like I just got dropped here. And I know my dad's listening right now. Sorry, dad, but it's true. I just feel like what the heck is going on? But as you go through life and you have experiences and we learn and grow from them. Even if you think people aren't learning and growing, there's some level of that somewhere, right? So I
Mm-hmm.
believe that we all are open to experiences, um, to lean into those intuitive nudges inside of us. Like you've been here before, or you've met that person before, or you've had this experience before, or this is a continuation. And I even feel like that with challenges. Like, what if your current challenges aren't random, but they're intentional? Like we talk about, like we had a game plan before we came here and we needed to have these certain people in our life to have these experiences for our best and highest good and to make us a higher frequency being than before, right?
Mm-hmm.
But then we have these experiences thinking that's just what humans do and that's just life, but it's so much bigger than that
Yeah.
because of the game plan made previously, at least what we believe.
Right.
And so I think that our soul is trying to have experiences through us. And that comes with a lot of things. Like I brought up karma and even like I'm j- not I'm trying to I'm all over the place because I'm like trying my body's trying to my mind is I'm trying to just trying to connect and trying to be here present as a human being.
You're doing great. You're flowing. We don't
There's
see the
no,
inside working.
I'm just saying, like, there's so much coming through me right now.
Mm-hmm.
I just wanna, like, spit it all out. But, let's talk about déjà vu. This will be a good way to experience it. Do you feel like you've had a déjà vu experience before?
Oh, yes, many
Or,
times.
like, an instant connection, like, an unexplainable connection, and you're like, "I swear I've met you before." I know everyone has had an experience with or like your fear of drowning, like these deep fears with no clear origin.
Right.
Or what about even on the other side of it where people are like crazy naturally talented with
Right.
certain things? Like they're just even like babies, they're just
Mm-hmm.
born to do these profound things. Do you think like that's signs of a past life and soul memory? I totally do. I don't think that we just are that way. I think it's like these different files inside of our soul that we have access to at all times. And when we come here and have this human experience and it's all wiped from us to begin with, it I believe that this life is also not just about having these growth experiences, but coming back home to ourselves, like coming back home to our soul's essence. It's a remembering of who we truly are. And I believe by having those experiences, they're like these little golden nuggets along this trail of life that, oh, there's more. Oh, wait, there's more. And we get reminded and we get blessed with these connections, these past connections.
Mm-hmm.
And we have these fears that we are known. And if we want to work through them, we get to really figure out like, where are they coming from? And how would you have a fear of water, like right from the get-go,
Yeah.
unless it was something that your soul remembered,
Right.
and I don't think your soul is not trying to become anything. It's just trying to remember. And I think like maybe when we come here, we're given this serum to wipe our memory, but it only lasts so long, right? Because I think like as we go through life, we start remembering, oh, that's who I am. Oh, that's who I'm meant to be. Oh, yes, this feels familiar. And so we gain those little nuggets along the way to encourage us to keep going so we can come back home to ourselves.
I definitely believe that. So my experiences of deja vu. So deja vu for me is different than meeting someone that feels familiar.
Mm-hmm.
And so my deja vu is wow, I've been here before. I feel like I'm on the right track. To me, it's an affirmation. It's a simple
Mm-hmm.
sign that's like, oh, wow, okay, I remember this. I remember this moment. Like, okay, maybe this was a checkpoint along the way. Meeting people that are familiar. Sometimes there's been times in my life where I've kind of leaned in, and sometimes I give too much emphasis on someone that's familiar, and there's been a freedom at times for me to say, okay, this just doesn't in the flow with particular people in this life, or
Mm-hmm.
they're just connecting with me for a moment, and I'll say, okay, I'll meet you in another lifetime. That there's also been that thing to say, oh, I'll see you again later. I don't worry about that. Like the freedom to say, I know I'll see you again, and not necessarily in this one, but I'll see you again later. Because sometimes it's good to say, I'll meet you in another lifetime on some beach far away from, it's just not, doesn't work in this lifetime in different instances. There's a freedom for, in that for me that's been releasing me from trying to figure out too much in this lifetime and being able to be relaxed. You're muted.
I wasn't talking.
Oh, you look like you.
I'm just like,
It's like
yeah.
feeling that. That's like, okay.
Mm-hmm.
That's the way I've been able to read it and connect with my soul and trust deeper and trust deeper.
Mm-hmm.
That's definitely feels like that's been one of the things this lifetime is
Mm-hmm.
learning and growing and the freedom to be myself and
Mm-hmm.
trusting my life and showing up in this lifetime. And some of the teachings that I've heard that if we were to see all of our lifetimes, I think past lives, a lot of times people want to be someone famous or, connect to this one, a great person. And I've never related to that
Mm-mm.
in myself. And I remember listening to this teacher of mine, and he said he was shown at one point, he was shown lifetime after lifetime after lifetime after lifetime. And he's like, oh gosh, will it ever stop? One that life sometimes are monotonous. Like we
Mm-hmm.
can have lots of lifetimes, and it could be a lifetime where we just lived and then died, but there wasn't anything major significant in some ways, but the awareness of all those things.
Mm-hmm.
So sometimes it's not about being splashy in a lifetime. Sometimes it's
Well,
just
yeah, it's not even all about that anyway. I mean, there's lessons in everything. There's
right.
experiences in everything.
Mm-hmm.
But for me, like when I feel into, I can only control so much, right? But in this lifetime, like I can't go back and change past lives. I know that there's energy you can shift around it, but what's done is done. Like that's just, I know
Yes.
people say they'll go back and rewrite and they feel like energetically they can. I am not certain about that. Maybe multiple existing timelines? Not sure. We know nothing at the end of the day. We're all
Right.
just assuming. But what is really cool when I lean into like this whole topic on like we talk about the soul's eternal journey, like what is that? And I lean into that for this experience here that I'm having here because that's the only one I'm experiencing right now.
I agree with that.
And I just feel like this experience is just literally a chapter in the whole story.
Mm-hmm.
And we get to choose our experiences for growth. And we also carry energetic imprints and we leave them as well. And I feel like those little nuggets that I was talking about earlier, I feel like sometimes those little nuggets have even been left by us to help us remember. I feel like being a human is one of, if not the only way to have these experiences where our memory is not with us when we come into it because of the school that we're in. And so I just think that's really cool. So we can actually like when we talk about karma and patterns and soul lessons, we can literally shift like the meaning and the purpose, right? So because we have the awareness that we're here having this growth experience. So we could even reframe karma. I know that people will go to see people like us, like I have some karmic debt or I have some karmic clearing. That's great. However, you're going to do it to each their own. I'm not laughing because it's funny if they do. I'm just laughing because us as humans, we really overcomplicate things. But sorry. This is so I get laughed at all the time when I go into the records, and it just made me remember when the last reading I had, I was laughing hysterically. I couldn't stop laughing because one of the guides, it was an octarine, was sitting there literally laughing at how silly humans are. Like they just find us so humorous. Like we just take something so seriously that like really don't matter. And I just got that flashback. That was really funny.
It makes you laugh again.
Yeah, she had to be there. Anyway.
So I have a question.
Well, I just wanted oh, go ahead.
Yeah, you go and finish and then I'll
I'm going to say about the karmic because it's coming in.
Yes.
When you talk about the karma and the patterns and the soul lessons, like the points that I want to talk about are like repeating different dynamics, especially like in relationships or lessons that keep resurfacing. And I think like for me, patterns of abandonment or self-worth or things like that, cycles that don't seem logical, but they feel very, very deeply ingrained inside of us. So when I have people come in for readings, I would say more people than not want to know about their past lives and what they need to clear up. They want a quick, like, what do I need to clear up so I can get it done and over with? It doesn't really work that way. It doesn't really work that way. But where in your life does something feel older than your current story? So you're having this experience, but you're like digging in deeper. You're just feeling in, leaning into that. Where did that experience come from? Where did you pick up that belief that you're carrying even the karma or the pattern? Is it a recognition of your experiences here, or is it somewhere like deeper in your soul? It's just interesting when you do that kind of work, when you like dig in deeper and ask a question, then ask another question and ask another question. Like, why do you think that? What made you believe that? When was the last time you remember feeling that? When was that first introduced to you? Things like that to help you dig deeper. And a lot of times people will find the pattern here in this lifetime. And if they can't, it's because it's older than this life. And I noticed that when it is older than this life, people will start feeling frustrated because they can't feel into the answer and the emotional intensity comes around. They get more emotional and it gets more intense, which is just like, to me, your soul is like, hello, I'm talking to you. Have you ever had those experiences?
Yes.
Okay. Go ahead and ask your question or say what you were going to say.
Well, it I can see that I was flowing along in the same direction that you were, because my question was, if someone is feeling trapped in their cycle of lessons, so it
Mhm.
tags a little bit into that we come here for school, and then some people get tired of being schooled about a thing. And my question was essentially, how would we like dive into our soul, the seat of our soul,
Mhm.
to discover more about that, instead of being so up in our mind about frustration or
Mm.
the exhaustion of having a lesson. How can we get to a deeper essence where we're not so caught up, like you said the Octurians laugh at us because we get so caught up in the drama of it all, and they're like, oh my goodness, could you just breathe, or whatever they're saying, laughing at
Silly,
us.
silly
So,
humans. And it's
so
not in a judgmental way.
no, I can feel that.
They
It's in a
love us.
loving.
They just are like, "Oh my goodness, you're making this difficult."
So I was just exploring that aspect in my mind of some of I. It's been a long time in this lifetime since I felt overburdened by my schooling in this life,
Mhm.
but I know people that feel burdened by the lessons and lessons. I'm tired of being schooled, and they'll want to just throw their hands up and like forget it.
Mhm.
But I wanted to offer something along those lines to say, if we connect with the soul. But I think you answered that by saying those, ask questions and ask questions.
Yeah.
Is it something that's older? Is it something that could be easily released? Is there a way our soul connecting to an essence of ourselves that will relax us and let us be more with the flow of this lifetime?
Yeah. I love that. I'm sure you've heard us saying what repeats is asking to be healed, right? So what keeps coming up for us is like an indication of something inside of our body that's looking to heal. And I really feel like your soul will revisit what your heart is ready to transform.
Mm.
So let me bring some hope into this.
Good.
You know me, I'm not one to like open the closet and dig out a box and let's work on this trauma. I believe that things, like I said, they'll come to the surface when they're ready,
Mm-hmm.
when it's time. And I feel like the awareness creates the healing even without knowing where it came from in this lifetime or past lifetimes. Because you don't need to fully know any past life to you don't need to recall any of it to heal. You'll get glimpses or you'll get a remembering, you'll get a connection, you'll get a quote. Something will come up that will grab you in a way that you'll just be like, "Oh, okay." Right? Cuz we all get to a point where like, "Okay, I don't want to repeat this pattern anymore. I don't want to
Right.
feel this thing anymore." And so your heart will literally guide you. I There's so many people in frustration in readings when I ask, "Well, what does your heart say?" Or you my advice would be to follow your heart. Well, what does that mean? People get
Mm.
so confused when I say that. But healing happens in the present moment. Literally. You can't heal the past. You don't know what's going to happen in the future. Everything is right here and right now. So for you to go to a closet and say, I'm going to work on this healing for the next 30 days, you don't know what that looks like. You don't know what that's going to be like. It could be 5 minutes. Maybe it's not that big of a deal anymore. Maybe you've already actually been running that program in the background this whole time and it's already resolved itself. But I feel like not only just asking deeper questions, like really truly getting to know yourself on a deeper level and why you think and feel the way you do and where it is coming from. I really feel like a light meditation, nothing like seriously deep or medicated or anything like that, but a light meditation or even a past life regression, if that's something that you're called to, is really a neat experience to go into with the intention that you are wanting to connect to something that you're experiencing now in the present moment. Like something like a reoccurring pattern. Well, just I keep saying that because I know a lot of us have those.
Mhm.
We just keep repeating these patterns and we don't know why. Sometimes it is from something in this lifetime, and sometimes it's not. And I don't know why I said I already. I also feel that body awareness is huge. So many of us are outside of our bodies. We're not really checked in. We're kind of on autopilot or we're multitasking, whatever that looks like. But our energy in our body is basically why am I having a hard time with words? Is like an alarm system in a way to our soul. Like our soul can communicate with us most definitely. But if you're not paying attention to those little nudges that you're receiving, it's going to show up in your body somewhere because everything is energy. And so, like, if you're experiencing any physical things, they're always linked to an emotion. And most times, those emotions are linked to an experience. So,
Yeah.
it really is just following a blueprint of going from this little, like a scavenger hunt. Like you get this little clue and it leads you over here to this little clue that leads you over here. And so I feel like we just literally, those little nuggets, those little scavenger things, we are gaining along the way to help us fully come back to our true soul essence. And a lot of people will use past lives as an excuse of why they act and behave the way that they do, and that's fine. Or, like a personality, like, "I was in a witch in 10 lifetimes, so I'm a witch now." That can be factual, those things can be true. If you're a farmer in this lifetime, you may have been a farmer in another lifetime. Our soul likes what our soul likes. And by being in different vessels, we have different experiences. By having free will in those experiences, we have different experiences. By having other people in our lives, we have different experiences. They get to show up for us certain ways, and we get to show up for them, which gives us different experiences. You're not bound by your past lives. You're literally just informed by them. And so it's just like literally just like paying attention to the little subtle nuggets left along the way. It really is just being in the present moment. You're gonna miss something. We've talked about that so many times. And I think it's really cool, like, in any lifetime that you incarnate as a human being, when you shift your experiences, your soul story also shifts. Nothing is permanent in any timeline. So although you can't go and rewrite the story, you can always shift the energy around it. That's how I work with people in trauma. When I do the trauma release, it's literally energy. We shift the energy from being super traumatic to being like an experience you had with no emotional attachment or very little of emotional attachment to it. It literally is energy. We're not rewriting the story. You're just taking the experience it and creating with it what you will for your best and highest good. And a lot of times people do that without even being aware that they're doing that
Right.
because energy just shifts. That's just the way that it works.
That's very good. I don't know exactly how to follow that up. I'm just like engrossed in what you're saying.
I came in, I was like, I'm going to connect to the records, but connecting to the records and doing this whole, and that's just not going to work unless I totally disconnect. But there's so many stories that I could share with just doing readings of other people's experiences. What I find that there's always a common thread in when I work with people in the Akashic records is a past life. If it comes to the reading as something, it's always to remind the person or to teach the person. And I think it's interesting that every single time someone says, well, so I always share first in a reading, like this is what's coming through. And then I leave the end, like, what questions do you have? Because I just like to get all of the information out right away while it's coming through. And by the end of that, most times I'm like, what questions do you have? And they're like, oh my gosh, you answered every question that I came with. Because the soul knows what the soul needs. And there are moving parts all around us, and they will be put into place. And where you have the Akashic realms, that literally is all your unconscious thoughts, behaviors, deeds, lives, concurrent, simultaneous, path, whatever it is, in all lifetimes. So all of the information is there for you to access if it's meant for your best and highest good at this time. And so what your soul is feeling, what your soul is craving or needing will come through, even if you don't realize that's what you needed. So by the end of something like that, a lot of people are like really shocked or in awe or surprised, whatever it is. They're just like, I don't know how you knew that. Well, I don't know anything. I'm literally just giving the information that you haven't given yourself access to yet. That's all. So your soul is always communicating. Your soul is always gathering memory. And it's always with you in every single lifetime that you experience, from my understanding.
Mine too. It's good. I'm like,
You're so cute. I just want to
like pause for collecting, and then where do I go from here? Where do I go from where you are?
Mm-hmm.
What I have learned along the way in my life, there was a point where I radically because with reincarnation as a framework my whole life, I was just like, well, it's like, well, it could always be the next lifetime. But somewhere along the way, I had this very specific thought moment that was like, but this is the only time I get to be Natalie Peace.
Mm-hmm.
It's the only time I do that incarnation.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where I just lean all the way into being this body, this framework, Natalie Peace in this lifetime, do that 100%. And it's really paid off. I really believe that.
But some parts of you didn't just come from this lifetime. They came they came with you.
Right.
So I love that though.
Yes. And there was a connection with when I did the Buddhist teachings that I learned in Vipassana, when in the meditations where they sit and they do a body scan, there's a teaching that's trust that the pain or the sensation is releasing what they call sankharas, releasing trapped emotion, releasing trapped energy, because they say this in this form is where we can release those things. Mm-hmm. So along the lines of what you were talking about was when you pay attention to the body and the body is releasing or has pain or a sensation that's taught in the Buddhist teaching that says here in this form, in those sits is when you don't have to know where it's from. They didn't say figure out where that came from. Mm-hmm. They say watch it as it releases itself, or notice or observe the pain or the sensation. You're just observing, but you're not trying to manipulate it. So I find that sometimes people do that in healing, or their search for answers. Mm-hmm. To the mind space, like, let me know where that actually came from. Right. And there's philosophies and spiritual teachings that say we don't need to know where it came from. We can just let it be released. Yeah. And let our hearts heal and lighten us up. And there's this enlightenment.
Yeah. Well, you're not here to carry the past. Like, no. we learn, right? But we're not here to carry it. You literally are here to alchemize it. The best way that I can explain it.
Oh, beautifully put.
Well, I am an alchemist.
Yes. That to transmute. I also like the word can transmute it in these bodies. We can shift it Let the
And
energy just shift.
yes, yes, that's what my heart was just saying. That's what's so cool about this. When you have this awareness, you have the ability to break cycles that you have carried with you for lifetimes when you lean in and feel into this. So literally think about that. Your healing that you have needed in every lifetime, you can heal just by
Mhm.
having awareness. And I think that, ooh, I think that's really cool, first of all. But think about how powerful we are.
Yeah.
How we are so powerful. And we've talked about this so many times, how we devalue our power and our abilities and stuff like that. Right? We're working on that. All of us are working on that. And I love that for us. But just think like how powerful it is that you have a moment you get to choose differently. And when you do, you get to shift everything.
Yeah.
When you have the awareness that something needs some attention, um, you get to heal it. You and I don't feel like this life of any lives that we have is ever random. I feel like everything is intentional and there are no accidents. Like everything that we experience is always for our best and highest good. And I really feel like our soul like carefully selected this experience for us because it knows what it needed. It knows what things needed to come up to heal. It knows what experiences we need to have to lean into a deeper, profound, energetic love. It knows what um, our human self needs, but may not, the human part of us may not understand.
Right.
You know, there's just so many aspects to connecting to your soul memory. Past lives are cool, guys. If you want to learn about your past lives, there's so many ways you can do that. And it's entertaining, if nothing at all, right? Because some people are just like, yeah, I don't know if that resonates. And that's okay. It doesn't have to. But I have found like some of my past lives, I'm like, that tracks. Like I can really feel that in my body. And other ones, I'm like, not so sure. But the cool thing about past life regression, if that was the route you were going to go, is that they're not giving you a reading and telling you about your past lives. You're under a state of hypnosis and you're speaking your experiences from past lives in this trance state that you're in, this hypnotic state, which when those I've done one past life regression with a past guest, Wendy Rose Williams. She was on the show a couple of times. It was interesting. It was very interesting. And I didn't resonate so much with the past life that came up, but I resonated with the experiences and the lessons learned were ones that I needed in this lifetime. Like I needed those answers to heal through some stuff in this lifetime. So that's what a past life can offer you. Not just the, oh, that's a cool story, or yeah, that resonates. I love working with wood. That makes sense. I'd be a woodworker. Nothing like that. Like those experiences that you learned in your past life and you haven't healed and you're having that happen in this life, you can learn something from gaining that information from a past life to heal on this life.
I was remembering that I had a hypnosis session along the way
Oh,
where I did.
really?
Yeah, that
Do
was.
you want to share it?
Well, I was just. I don't remember the specifics, which probably mean that I integrated that back then.
Mhm.
But I remember, um, just from that awareness that I think at the time along the way, I remember like when I had that, I wasn't some grandiose. I listened to people's stories like I was Cleopatra or not. I mean,
Mhm.
maybe they were. That wasn't my experience. I just remembered actually that I did that. I don't remember specifics, so I'm sure that I was healing during that time. There are times where I think back in my this one incarnation, I don't even relate. I mean, I'm just not the same woman that I was when I was a much younger lady. I don't. There's people that tell me now, well, I'll take your word for it because I don't believe you that you were the way that I was describing,
Mhm.
um, which is good. I
Yeah.
feel like I've done a tremendous amount of healing in this lifetime, and any opportunities that I have to heal, I'm just leaning in because I do understand. In the form is where we can affect this. It's in the form we can be the alchemist, or in the form we can be the transmutation of the energy. In the
Mhm.
form, it does something different than spirit does. And I just find those so empowering. I have been empowered by my experiences with my past life. I've been empowered with understanding that I'll meet people along the way that are familiar. And I was like, oh, yay, I know you from somewhere. Thank you for seeing
Mhm.
you again, my old friend. We've had experiences
We've
before. I don't
had
even have to, yes. I was just saying that about my other friend today. Lunch with my other friend today, and I said, I remember when I sat across from you from the first time meeting you, and there was just this strong connection right off the bat that
Mm.
was just there, that we had to have had previous experiences. Otherwise, that connection, I don't think it would feel fresh and new and not so deeply familiar.
Right.
Like, oh, yay, I get to spend some time with you again in this lifetime.
Yeah. And it's unexplainable, but
Oh, yeah.
you when you know, you just cannot deny that you
Mm-mm.
know.
Right.
And I know a lot of my lifetime, I disregarded it. I did. I was like, "That's crazy. That's not real. That's coincidence." And, I do have some regret around that because I know that I missed out on some opportunities that could have been more enriching. And also, with all of the work that I've done, I look back and think, you're always where you're meant to be. And I know I've learned a lot of those lessons later with different people or different experiences. So, um, if that's something that you experience where the coulda, shoulda, wouldas, or whatever that looks like for you, just please disregard because it's really neat once you lean into the possibility of, what is meant for me will always find its way.
Oh,
And
yeah.
what I meant to learn, I will learn in this lifetime. All of that and then some.
And that's
And yeah, isn't that the truth?
yeah.
Thanks to other people, you get to learn more things.
You can just keep going. There's no end. It's for the people. There's another thing where people say they want it to end, and I have a realization it really doesn't end. We
Mhm.
may have some pauses where perhaps we entered in a really difficult life. We might hang out and not embody quickly, where our soul might need some
Yeah,
rest.
yeah.
There's an awareness of that. I think sometimes in my life I've given a little too much credence. I think I've also been like leaned too much into past life connections with people along the way, that I was like, maybe I should have given it not as much emphasis as and maybe
I
that
can
was healing
appreciate
a
that.
pattern.
Maybe so, maybe so. But yeah, this is not your only life. It's just
No,
literally your current expression. That's
right.
what's so cool is um it can be anything, right? That you choose it to be. But I feel like when we remove the layers of of being being someone we've been told who we are supposed to be and not being who our soul remembers us to be, we have a bigger opportunity to connect to our true soul memory and our true soul essence. So, I mean, on this lifetime, I know a lot of people who are listening are here because they're working on themselves or they're going through a spiritual journey. And if I could say anything to anyone, and I've said it on repeat and I say it all the time, but like lean into yourself, like learn who you are
Yeah.
and put yourself first and foremost. Like what feels good for you, what feels good in your heart, in your soul. You can do that without disregarding another human being. You can do that in a way that is not like an ego self-serving way. It's a loving yourself deeper way.
Mhm.
And you don't have to be conditioned by saying that's selfish. Why would you put yourself first? Because you are the most important person in your journey. This is your journey. So, whether you're connecting to your soul memory or a past life, it literally gets to be whatever you choose it to be. And I just think it's cool that we have access to all of this information inside of our soul. So it's just like leaning in and remembering, just leaning in and remembering. Strengthen that muscle.
Indeed.
Indeed, Natalie
You,
says.
it's so lovely to watch you that before you understood, your journey and learning the Akashic records and the things that I've watched you be able to bring because you did the work to explore and discover that. And then just the messages that come out of that reinforce things that we used to talk about, but in such a dynamic way. That's good job. Good job on this journey.
Thank you. You're one of my biggest teachers.
Oh, well, that's good.
If I believed in gurus.
I'd be, that's in my design. I'm a guru. I guess I come by that naturally. Which is why I love people that ask me questions and tap that. It's like, I'll be your guru if it's the thing that that I know so well and deep, and I thrive on that.
Good. I don't want to be anyone's guru.
No.
You're
a teacher.
One's not in my design. Teacher. You're right.
You're a teacher.
You're
yeah.
Right. I feel that in some ways. So anyway, thank you for saying all of those things. And also, I just have to say, everyone, we've talked about the Akashic records before, everyone can connect to them. And I highly encourage you to do so in an intentional way, in a clean, intentional way. Well, I guess you can access them if it wasn't, but I just like to say that because there's so much magic, beautiful messages that can come through for you in your soul's journey. And I love the opportunity to help people do that and help people connect to their records. And I just feel so honored and grateful when people come to me and I get to like swim in their soul energy. Like, I will never take that for granted. That is just such a gift. And I love it so much. And it's changed my life. And I'm just so grateful for it. And I'm grateful to talk about tonight's topic because it's so good. And I wish we had more than an hour because then I would really get in it. Ronald, this is an aquamarine. It's my birthstone. My birthday was a minute ago, last week, Friday. So I've been wearing my birthstone. Thank you. So yeah, good. Anything else before we say our goodbyes?
No, I think that's been you were a great teacher tonight because I just was listening and absorbing it and taking that all in.
Okay.
I'm so grateful for the awareness of past life in my life. Hopefully someone picked something up from the show tonight.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. They will or they won't, and it doesn't matter.
Nope.
It's
all an experience.
It's all good. Anyways, everyone, it's been so fun. We probably could vote, but for the lack of time, we'll just pick a topic next week and we'll come more prepared next week with some options for you guys to vote on. However, you also know that at any time, if you have a topic you'd like us to discuss, you can absolutely contact us on any of our social media platforms, which you can find on our website, soulwanderings.com, or you can email us at connect@soulwanderings.com. And if you're local to the Northern Utah area and would like to book an appointment with either one of us, vibesnow.com.
Do it.
Do it.
If you want to.
If you want to. Yeah. Do it if you want to. Sweet. Thanks, everyone. We really appreciate you and appreciate your time. We'll see you all next week. Good night.
Have a good one.